Healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lady Journey.
Welcome to Lady Journey.
I am loving my look today. I look like I'm going down the Cape for a picnic lunch with the girls.
Even though every time like Labor Day happens, it always feels like we are done and it's time to move on. But you're like, actually, we're still in summer. Guys, we're still in summer, but it's just no kids summer. It's Adult Swim right now.
Oh, yes. Adult Swim. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
Where
I know.
You can go on trips and there's not that many people, but you can still like benefit from summer weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
September is a beautiful month, but I think by the time this airs, it will be actually in October. Yeah, it'll be early October. So look at you with your pumpkin spice, which you've been drinking for a full 8 weeks now. You know who you are.
I will indulge in it. We did fall trends, but there are stuff. I'm like looking forward to the temperature dropping just a little bit. I'm hot.
I want to use my oven again. I can't wait.
I want to cook
sweet
again.
Potatoes.
Definitely cooking less salads. I'm still ripping through baby shower sandwiches.
Oh my gosh!
I have 20 in the freezer.
I love those sandwiches, by the way. They
were good.
This is our baby shower episode. We'll be doing a full rundown, but there was a platter from Whole Foods. The bread was fantastic.
It was really good. My sister did a good job of finding out. Her boyfriend was like, you should just get sandwiches at Whole Foods. And I think that was an excellent choice.
Oh my gosh.
I've had sandwiches, like a sandwich tray from Subway Sandwiches, and those are just as good to me as well. Like,
yeah,
a different palate.
Yes, yeah. A little less refined. Well, the sandwiches.
But still, like, everybody's still pretty content with Subway sandwiches.
Oh my gosh, you love a little bread. Well, it was hilarious as we're getting into the baby shower. Well, let me do the stone dedication really quickly. I'm all over the place today. I have had 4 cups of green tea and I won't stop. I do want to do our stone dedication to our Patreon just quickly here. Look how gorgeous this is.
That's a big one.
Can I tell you, when I went down to Raleigh this past weekend, which when this airs, it will be many moons ago, I had 11 people at my show. And 1/10 of the audience, her name was Marissa. So shout out. She brought this for me because she could tell I needed it. She could tell I needed it. And it's a beautiful rose quartz. How gorgeous.
Ooh.
And it's now now in my therapy, I am doing grounding techniques. And it's actually very similar to what Gail was talking about when we did the witching episode. And she gave her daughter the tiger's eye to keep in her pocket. But it's actually a psychological technique that can help you root in the present moment.
Yeah, just stay here.
Yeah, just stay here. So this is the stone for today. And again, rose quartz. So it's all about love, self-love, attracting romantic love, perhaps. And this is going out to Ceruleo. So Ceruleo, blessings.
Stay grounded.
Many blessings.
I also want to give a shout out. I got a gift basket to a friend of the podcast, an avid listener, but I met her last summer through Joe, through Baseball Connection.
Oh, how lovely.
And so Jane S. Thank you.
What was in the basket?
A whole World Market basket.
Oh my gosh.
So I got some scrubs, some bath salts, some candles, lavender scent to spray on your pillows.
Oh, I love those. Oh, that puts me right out.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's like a my Ambien.
Yes. So spray it all over the bed now, and then also like a shower spray of like eucalyptus, and I think it has another scent, and you just spray it in there so it feels like a spa kind of thing for a little bit.
I love that. For me, it's like a dirty spa.
I know.
Like a spa where I'm like, I need to scrub in here.
Yeah.
We have a spider living in our home now, which is such fun.
Well, that's the problem with summer. I've had that like a little bit more bug action because we had heavy rain.
Yes.
And it's always, do you ever feel like when you have people over and then you're talking to them and then you're like, oh my God, what is in the corner over
There's a fly, a giant fly, slowly. It's just on its last hour of life and it's just landing on people's food. You're like, that's not usually here.
I don't know what's going on. It's my neighbors. They're hoarders.
Yeah. Just throwing anyone and everyone under the bus.
But then like, I keep saying like that's New York, but I have friends that live in other states, and then I have like a mouse trap on the floor, and you're like, don't worry, he just comes once a year.
Yeah, we're just trying to kill him. Well, the spider, I at first was scared, but then I said, you know what? I'm going to embrace it because it feels like spooky season.
It's spooky season, and they do kill bugs.
They kill bugs. And it's like, what fun to have a tiny pet.
Yes. And there's a few spider accounts I follow on Instagram.
Ooh.
One's called Spider Boops, and they look like little old men with grizzly beards, and they have those cute little big eyes, and then they have arms, and there's these girls, they're like goth girls that like collect them as pets.
Yes.
And they'll get excited when they start getting babies.
Oh my gosh, that's so me.
It's so goth, and I kind of like, I could get into this world, but it's like something that I would have to give my spouse a heads up.
Yeah. You just start wearing a lot of black lipstick and you never address it.
Well, spiders have a negative connotation. Like they have bad PR.
People get afraid of spiders. I've never been afraid of them personally. Like if I see a daddy long legs or something, like daddy long legs, first of all, how awkward. They're so cute. Like you're just going around with that as your vessel.
And also their name, Daddy Longlegs. I just picture like a gay daddy.
Hi, Daddy Longlegs.
We used to have a lot of them. I have seen, apparently it's season for this I think non-poisonous, but they're huge.
Oh,
I forgot what they're called.
The lantern flies?
Maybe, yeah.
Is that the thing it's like the invasive bug and you're supposed to kill it?
Oh, well, we have that. Not that. It's a spider and it has a huge body and it's big, but I think they're not poisonous. But people get like, he's by my door, I can't go into my house right now.
See, I don't get that. I have so many other fears, like being homeless as an elderly person. That's true. Or like walking home late at night. I'm not afraid of like a spider crawling on me.
Yeah,
it's like, please, I have enough to worry about.
Yes,
thank you.
He will not murder me or like sexually assault me and then gaslight me in front of all my friends.
Yeah, he's a liberal being. Now I love the only spider I would be afraid of is those type that you see in Australia, like the white recluse or like the little white widows or like whichever ones they are. I know there's like a brown one, the black widow spider.
Well, apparently all of Australia is just an island of predators.
Yeah, I don't want to go there. I don't.
It sounds
just be careful.
Heinous. Just snakes in your house.
Just Crocodile Dundee. Just dingo ate my baby.
I'm not prepared for that.
But if we have any listeners, good day to you.
Good day,
or
mate.
good night, depending on when you're listening to this. Now, let's get into the baby shower because it was a whole thing.
It was, and it, yes. I went in, the fear of mixing groups.
Yes.
And then it's also becomes a magnifying glass onto your life.
Yes.
Of, do I have girlfriends?
Mm-hmm.
Are people my friends? Then there are a few that I was like, later on, I was like, you know what? I actually should have invited that person. And it didn't come to my mind because I just have object impermanence in my head. Like if you're not in my eyesight for a while, I just forget about you. Mm-hmm. Or if we're not texting on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But I still consider a lot of females in my life still like
now
good
you've
friends.
burned a bridge.
I've burned a bridge. So
having a party, though, it is a huge range of emotions, especially when it's having a party where you're kind of the one to be celebrated in this way of like a baby shower is such a specific type of party. And I think a bridal shower is the only other thing that is as close to this, where it's like you're kind of being appreciated by your friends. And it's like, oh, let us all take a moment to appreciate you. And it's like, okay, well, I don't like that feeling because now I feel icky.
Well, it reminded me of like years ago. I remember the first time I did a show in Houston. It was before I left. I invited like everybody came out. It was in the Houston Press and I got to headline it. And then I just gave me a glimpse of like, this sucks because you have all these people that you really enjoy in your life, but you can't really give anyone your undivided attention. That's kind of your wedding, but at least it's expected. So you'd have people that would show up and you're like I saw Chrissy and I was like, I love hanging out with Chrissy, but at the same time, like I had to make sure my like family members were getting adequate attention. I had people from Houston that came out, and the others I was like, I see you on a constant basis, so I feel like I should give my undivided attention to these people. And so then you're like, well, I just didn't even see you at my own party.
Yes, yeah. And then they're leaving out the door. You're like, well, okay.
What's like that? Like, all right. I guess, I didn't even know that you were here.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Bye.
So you just feel rude.
Yeah, I do understand that feeling. Just feeling like constantly when you're hosting the party, at least your sister and your sister-in-law and I were kind of the hosts of it. So it was like, I took it upon myself to demand that everyone took their shoes off. Yes. I was like, I will be that person. And there was some ups and downs with the planning of the baby shower. Although I will say I felt that like having 3 people plan it and each take on the own like role,
yes,
made it so much easier.
Yes, I felt like you guys all got along, and then I felt like when you said the other day that you had the best attitude if somebody was like, "This is what I want to do. I'm going to do it." Why fight about it?
Yes, yeah.
Why be like,
how dare you? We're doing zoo animals.
This is my show.
Yeah. This is about me. It's kind of fun to be the party planner in a way because you get that wonderful excuse of like, I'm just getting some drinks and hanging in the background.
Yeah.
I'm working over here, so you don't have to be like, and so how was your breakup?
No, I know this. There are times I had this when I went to this weekend as well, which was all part of my mental state. I went into this weekend being like, oh my God, this is the worst weekend of a lot of stuff is happening.
Yeah.
I also had all of our Lady Journey episodes of uploading. Fortunately, I can upload and go.
Oh, good.
But at the same time, you're like, of all the weekends to be like, this is the Lady Journey batch weekend, you're like, fuck. Then a friend just got married, told me 2 weeks prior. I decided to marry my friend of 30 years that I wasn't romantically involved with.
I know. It's like at a 2-week, if you're doing a 2-week, you don't get a wedding, okay? You go to the courthouse.
But I managed, it was all of that. And then we were also in a hurricane season situation.
The weather was wild. I mean,
Yes.
just on the day of the baby shower, I was dragging the supplies through the pouring rain, trying to hold the lemon bars under the umbrella.
You're supposed to hold an umbrella and sandwich trays at the same time. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was wild. And then of course I know. Yeah. I know. It's like,
Jesus.
is this a sign? Is this a sign?
You're like, Jesus, take the wheel and crash it off this cliff right now. There was so many moments. So it was just a bunch of that. So one of the things that started off, first of all, I've got my sister and my sister-in-law, and they are the 2 strongest personalities in my family.
Yes, and I noticed that
can trigger, and they're both like, they're just strong personalities. Just, I feel like very type A.
Yes.
So you're really just like bending towards them. So that causes me stress. Then people coming out of the from Houston to come visit. So I had one moment of my friends, everybody's flight was delayed.
Yeah.
Derailed, rerouted. And so I had to go do shows. I left my keys in a secret spot,
which we will not be disclosing. Just check our Patreon.
And so I go to my spot. I come back. My keys are not there.
Okay. That's so stressful.
And my friend was didn't even make it to New York. So it wasn't like she got them. They were just gone. And I couldn't figure out who it was. I couldn't tell my landlord that I had breached security. But I had to let my roommates know, deadbolt everything.
There's a man. There's a man in the house.
So I had to deadbolt my apartment. I locked myself in the bedroom to sleep, and I brought a baseball bat next to the bed.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, the person that I know, I was like, you know what? I think the guy, my landlord's out of the country for 2 months. He'll get back soon. So that he has an attendant that helps separate the recyclables and also kind of like water down the sidewalk. So I was like, it's probably him. He probably found my secret hiding spot. I'll just get it from him.
Yeah, he's probably in here as we speak,
masturbating all over me. No, he was very nice, and he has access to all of our apartments. So if he was going to do something, he would have done something by now.
And that's a relief.
That was a relief. So I had to go into my neighbor's apartment to make sure everything was not taken there. And then my joke with them is like, they're kind of unmessy to be like, I can't tell if your place has been ransacked. So yeah, I had to lock myself in. And then the next day I reached out to him, and then I found out he outsources that job to somebody else. And he was like, you need to get that from George. And I was like, I cannot tell my landlord that I've breached security.
Yeah.
So then but here's what happened. My friend finally made it, and then I was telling her the story of the keys, and I was like showing her where I put it, and then I had to like dig. I was like, I put it in here, but like I was all up in here yesterday, so they're not even here. And then all of a sudden I just decided to put my hand into something deeper. And my keys. So whoever found them, they found them, and then they were like, this is awful job of hiding.
Yeah.
Let me bury them deeper.
A sinkhole.
So I found them, and I was like, it changed my attitude for the rest of the weekend, because I was going to have to change the locks to the whole apartment and let the landlord know, and just know that I did something completely careless, and I will never leave keys for anybody ever again.
Losing keys is the worst feeling.
It really is.
And it so easily goes from, it like just reminds you of the fragility that we all exist in, where it's like everything's going fine and then it's not, and it's very wrong. And now you're just in the elements with no shoes.
Yes. And you've affected 8 other people's lives in the apartment.
Yeah. Thank God you didn't tell your landlord, though. That's why you should just never tell him.
I think he would have been fine, but I definitely would have gotten a lecture, because I did that at a previous place. I thought, because I knew the bodega guys so well, I'm in there once or twice a day. I was like, can I leave these guys with you? And then that landlord found out, and I just had to fucking get a huge lecture. And I was like, well, we have no doorman. What am I supposed to do?
That's
asshole?
what people do.
It's so
Leave
annoying.
your keys. Anyway, so everybody was having flight changes.
Changes and all that. And then I went to my friend's wedding. Didn't know anybody. I didn't realize how scary that is.
It is. Being at a wedding alone, you're just like, hi. trying to go over to someone's circle while they're talking, and then you just, as though you've just been there the whole time, like,
There was no common ground to even do small talk. So it would be like, the worst sentences were coming out of my mouth. Like, what, I like those shoes. Are those, I thought about wearing those shoes, but I wasn't sure.
And I love the idea of you two alone at a wedding, just like marching over to catch the bouquet, like with fully bumped out. Like, watch out, girls, baby on board, and he needs a father.
It's just, and you can't be the weirdo that sits on the couch and looks at their phone the entire reception.
Oh, no. And so instead you just have to stare into the crowd, like with a thin-lipped smile.
There was so much of that, but I anchored up to a couple.
Oh, good.
To the point I thanked
like
him.
a platonic threesome.
Yes, it was. And I thanked him at the end of the evening. I'm like, thank you for letting me drop anchor on you guys and dominate your whole night. And then we ended up talking politics.
Oh, interesting.
Well, the guy was like, have you noticed that nobody ever talks politics? And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's like dangerous territory these days. And then we were just talking about how much how kind of fun it is if everybody's in the right mindset for it without getting passionate and angry.
Yeah, if no one's trying to storm the Capitol, right?
Exactly, because you're like, it is Game of Thrones.
Oh,
This
truly.
is Game of Thrones that we're involved in.
It's absolutely a bizarre dystopia.
Yes.
What is happening? Like House of Cards, you know,
Yes.
that type of behind the scenes.
But then I left there, it was fine. That was Saturday, and then Sunday morning was like, here we go.
Oh, yes. I knew that you were feeling trepidatious.
Well, I met my friend Catherine for coffee at Little Flower. Then I get a text. The texts start rolling in.
Okay.
And they're like, we're here. It's 9:30 in the morning. I'm like, you guys told the Grove people 11:30.
11:30, yeah.
And I was like, what are you can't just show up at 9:30 if you didn't coordinate a time. But Julie was like, it's fine. We were just seeing if they had refrigeration. I'm like, well, you should reach out. Or at least reach out to me and I can reach out to them and book it. So that was kind of stressful just getting these people text 20 sentences at a time. So you're just getting bing, bing, bing while you're trying to have a friend hang.
Oh gosh, that's wild.
Yeah, but then they were like, everything's fine. We have our own refrigeration. And then as soon as like the party started, that's when like the torrential downpour happened again.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like on the way to the party and then downpour.
But then the spread was amazing. Everything turned out great.
We have a happy ending.
And it's a lesson too. It's like all my problems, and we talked about this yesterday.
Yes.
Every problem that you have is created in your mind.
It's self-created.
Yeah.
And I was in a tizzy too because you had
your own plane situation.
Yes, I had been in Raleigh and I had just been like slaving away all weekend trying to get this writing thing finished, not breaking the strike. It was unrelated. And it was a novel. And so I had a late show. I think I got back to my room at like 1 and then we left for the airport. I got up at 4. So I was just like addled kind of, and I was with the guy that I was working with. Everything was fine. I fell asleep on the flight and then I woke up and that's when I was like, I'm being weird now and I can't help it. You know, like you're hanging out with a friend, but you're just so out of it. They're like, hey, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like when somebody's really chatty Cathy and you're super nervous before a show where you can't be rude being like, I'm sorry, but whatever you're saying right now is not going into my brain because I could give a shit.
Yes.
I've got other stuff I'm worrying about.
I'm keeping myself alive right now because I usually have like, and then so also I have like, you know, I need to have 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Otherwise, I start feeling mentally ill. And I think that's the case for most people. But anyway, we were at the airport at 4. We boarded the plane and then the pilot just wasn't there. And then we all got off of the plane. And then I love the people at Delta. They know they're going to be like stormed immediately.
Yes.
So the guy's like, we will not hide any information from you. We will tell you the information. There is no need to approach the podium. We are not keeping a secret. We are not, it's like, this is all in good faith.
This is not a personal attack to you guys individually. I know it feels like it because you guys are mentally unwell.
Yeah, people are like, it's 6 a.m. So finally, when I heard that the flight was delayed, my stomach dropped because I was thinking my worst case scenario is something happens with the flight and I can't go to the baby shower and I have all of the desserts all ready that I had gotten on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then I just have a case of lemon bars and other assorted tea cookies, thank you, which I'll be getting to. So anyway, we get there. Everything got off without a hitch. I got home with just enough time to like get myself together. I, for some reason, was like, no shower. I'm fine.
I didn't shower. There was no time with that many people in your life at once. You're like, I will just have a stinky puss today.
Yeah, I wished I had showered. When I got home, I was just so out of it the entire time. I was like, doing party prep stuff, but I'm like, I don't even know what I was saying to other people. I know I was talking about Danny Masterson, revealing details, specific details.
But that's the energy I like coming into at a party. Like,
Yeah.
I can't, mine is just like, that was a wild apology. And then
Right.
I had no idea about the back, like how brutal those rapes were.
Brutal rapes. Hi, ladies. Quick announcement. I don't even know what I was saying. I was like chatting with people, running out of stuff to say, and then you're like, think quick, and you're like, so have you always had big boobs?
Yeah.
What? I got home. I took my shirt off. My shirt smelled so bad. I was like, I'm hugging people. I'm like hugging people's babies.
Well, it's like a small place. The other thing that was kind of funny about the venue, I thought it was great, but it was all like this kind of lighting. So every photo, most people, there was no like good lighting on our faces. So it was all like that Seinfeld Two-Face episode.
It was the lighting of an office building
With just like, because of moisture, like just scragglies on our hair and lightly flushed in the cheeks.
Humidity was out. I mean, it was like 100% humidity pouring down rain. We get there. But I will say, despite so many different little things, like, these little rough patches that you have when you have a party, the planning ended up going so well. Because like I said, we split it into 3 parts. I did the dessert. Your sister did the spread of the food and she did the drinks. And then your sister-in-law did the games. And we did something which I'm doing now. We compiled it all on a Google Doc, which I think is so helpful if you're planning a party with other people, because
what you're
then you
gonna
can
bring.
It's like, here's the outline. I did the outline of like, this is what the experience is. Like, welcome, come in. Then there's a meet and greet. Then we have lunch. Then we play the games.
The schedule of it.
Then we say goodbye.
Because then you would know, like, it just kept the movement going. There was no like, what do we do now? Do I stare off into space like I was at the reception?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was 2 hours, which I have to say, like 2 hours, it seems like, oh, it's not going to be enough time. It was perfect.
It's perfect and it's courteous to your guests. Because nowadays, like, as an adult, people only have a few days off in their life. And I get it. If you're like, I don't want to go to a baby shower.
Yeah.
Just keep it short.
Keep it short.
I think we should write a book called 30-Minute Parties.
30-minute parties. Oh my gosh. Hi, how are you? Great. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for the gift. Bye.
I know the people at the venue, they were like, oh, you could have stayed longer. I'm like, no need. No, I'm cleaning. I'm cleaning now. It was so cute. Your sister did a really great job. She did an amazing job with the color arrangements. It was like pink. It was like light pink, kind of almost a mahogany brown, and then like a sage green that she kind of did with everything. It was like florals.
Yeah, she's always had a good eye, and she's always been like, whatever she's wearing, then I'll get it.
She has a great eye. I was blown away.
Her apartment looks great too with how she curates everything.
I need to get in there. We have to have her on.
Yeah, we do.
Vicky. And she did a great job with the spread. The sandwiches were unbelievable. I took a tray home with me, and I mean, it was like it was like mozzarella with the tomatoes, like the stewed tomatoes on it. Oh my God, it was amazing.
Well, I think I have mostly the goat cheese with the fig dressing and arugula.
That one was good too.
There was hilariousness with this drinks thing. It was Waterloo orange vanilla, and they meant to get just orange seltzer. So it
funny.
just felt like the beverages that we had were like they work for a beverage company, and these are the discontinued drinks that we were serving.
These are the bubbly flavors.
We're like, interesting limoncello.
Yeah. Time.
Yeah, it wasn't your usual beverages.
Yes.
And then I met up with my sister-in-law. She was the game gal.
She was the game gal, and
this was her. This was
her Super Bowl.
Yes.
And I have to say, the way she did the games, this was so perfect. Everyone comes in, you get an envelope. Inside the envelope, there's 3 games and 2 little pencils, and then you just carry it around with you. The first game was you find a little bingo of like finding other people at the party with little facts. And that was fun because it's a talking activity.
Yes, it keeps the conversation going and it allows for mingling.
I've never done games so well organized as that.
Yeah, and it didn't consume the whole time, and there was little breaks in between so we could socialize and get more food. Because I was actually hesitant of the games because I remember Rosebud was like, I don't want to do games at hers, and she was like, they're stupid, and you're like, yeah, I know. No, they are.
They
I agree.
But it's nice to have something to talk about.
But I was grateful for them.
Yeah.
Because it did keep us something to do instead of just kind of like, what are we doing? I'm just used to podcasting.
Yes. Yeah. We're just going to talk and talk until we can't think anymore. I love games at an event like that too, because I do think that it also gives you something like if you're riffing, like, oh, we're all joking around. It's like, now we can joke around about like the baby's middle name or whatever.
Yeah. But here's the weird thing that was happening when I was helping Julie answer the questions. Some of the questions, you just felt like they were sexist. Who wants a boy and who wanted a girl? Where you're like, well, we did want a boy, but it just felt embarrassing to tell everybody we wanted a boy as if we were like wanting the next football star. But it was just because in my mind, and I know this is not true with genetics, but you're just like, it was more likely that the baby would probably have more some features of Joe, at least if it was a boy.
Yes.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of a girl Joe. And then there were stuff like who wanted babies first, and you were like, well, that's actually a long story, and it was very complicated in our relationship.
Yeah, it's kind of a personal trigger that you're bringing up that we had worked through, and now we're right back there.
We were like, what a wild statement to have that thrown out. And there was just like, just a lot of stuff like that. Like, and then my sister-in-law actually hurt my feelings at one point because it was like, who's the more disciplinary? And I was like, probably Joe. And she's like, that's what I was going to say. And that's why we didn't leave our kids with you.
What? Okay.
You're like, all right. I just thought it was because I lived in New York for 15 years.
Yeah.
So there was some, things like that where you're like, oh, okay, that was a little harsh.
Yeah.
So some of those questions could really dig up personal feelings.
Yeah.
Oddly, it's kind of like when I remember when I worked at property management, I had to set up a lot of username and passwords. Mm-hmm. And then the only way to retrieve passwords is to answer questions about your childhood. Like, what's your first car? Who's your first pet? Do you remember your first grade teacher? And then you're just like crying at your desk. Being like,
Mrs. Hines.
You're like, these are things I don't think about. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to deal with these emotions. It's weird.
It's a weird thing to participate in as well. It's kind of like, I have always felt, I hate people singing the happy birthday to me. I always feel so uncomfortable because it's like
the saddest song.
Am I just supposed to be like, and people draw it out too. So it's like a dirge, like happy birthday. And you're just sitting there like, thanks. Thank you again.
It's a long song.
And so it's like having attention directed on you in that way. And then this is like an extended time where we're also revealing personal facts about you that you're like, yeah, I didn't want to tell anyone that actually.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is you're like, you know what? These ladies are in my life, but when would they ever know these things about me?
I did not win any of the games.
Well, like, it was mainly like my siblings. You're like, you have to know me for like 40 years to know all of the details of my life, because you're like, it's not like I'm throwing in all these things about my life in conversation.
Yeah.
We're like talking
By
about
the way,
Danny Masterson's rape trial, not how many siblings I have.
Yeah. And I was cracking up too, because actually, speaking of having strange conversations, I'm like in the corner chatting with Chrissy about abortion in Indiana. We were cracking up because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm so exhausted, but I am just going on a diatribe about pro-choice at a baby shower. I'm like, Sarah couldn't say no.
Well, when I was doing the games with Julie, we thought the more fun games would be like, guess how many miscarriages Sarah had.
Oh, that's hilarious. to your own like sense of humor and taste.
Like cater the questions to what would be more interesting to laugh about.
And I know the answer to that.
Yeah. I think more people in my other life would know that more than my family.
Yeah.
That it would have been more of a fair playing ground.
Yes.
Yes. Because I like to divulge the darker secrets, not how many siblings I have.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's a fun fact about you? Yes, but ultimately, I think the games were great. They helped pass the time. They were perfect.
Yeah, and then before you knew it, the party was over, and then it ended at a time where people could have the rest of the day if they wanted to.
Oh, it was perfect. And I took the train with another girl who was at the party as well, and she was like, 2 hours. I mean, it's a revolution. I'm like, we just do 2 hours.
You changed the game.
Yeah. Could have been 90 minutes. And I have to say, I was really pleased with my dessert selection, even though a lot of it had to go in the trash because everyone was like, yeah, I'm not taking cinnamon rolls home right now. I was like, okay. But I did lemon bars, which I got from my place I love, Buttercup Bake Shop, lemon bars, and then magic
really
bars.
good.
The lemon bars. I did take some home, and that's what I was eating. I had to pour water over them in the trash. I'm like, I'm done.
I just like desserts with lemon.
I love
flavoring
lemon cookies, lemon bars,
lemon
anything.
vanilla, lemon cake.
I love a lemon.
Delicious.
So I did, lemon bars, magic bars. Oh, and then your sister also got these 4 different little tea tiers, which was gorgeous. She made gluten-free cupcakes, which I was so glad that someone thought of that because I did not. And then we had the lemon bars.
Good. Sometimes I think gluten-free desserts are better than actual gluten desserts.
Delicious. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I love a rice flour all day.
It's almost
every
like
day.
it's moisture.
Yeah. Yes, that is what it is.
Yes.
Like just almost like cake pop in a way.
Yes.
And then we had chocolate covered pistachio shortbread.
Oh, I don't think I got to try that one.
They were good. They were okay. I got them from the bakery at the fancy grocery store that I go to, and I knew that I wanted them because I was like, I like this, and I think shortbread is very it for what I'm going for here. But they were colored green, and I know that that's a no-no with pistachio desserts.
Really?
Because pistachio doesn't actually color things green. It's a food coloring added.
Which is weird. They used to be red back in the day.
Oh, yeah. That is weird.
It died.
But I got them anyway, and they were good. They did taste good. And then also Madeline's, of course, the mini cinnamon rolls, and then mini scones, which nobody ate. But those were more for
really great.
The look. Yeah.
There were chips, which I don't know where those chips went.
The Doritos.
My sister and I think Doritos are the best snack ever, and I can just eat them on a constant loop throughout my life.
Oh, I love it. Do you like Cool Ranch or do you like the nacho?
I like the nacho, and there was a moment in Lady Bird. Did you see that movie?
No, sadly.
Oh, there's a part where the dad goes for a job interview, and it's a little like kind of a sad moment. He realizes he's not going to get it because he's a little older, but his daughter, Greta, meets him, and then he was like, all right, kiddo, do you want to just go get some Doritos and drink a Diet Coke in the car? And I was like, that's like the nicest, like what a fun moment to have with your dad.
Oh, I love that.
But that you're like, obviously Greta is into Doritos.
Oh, Doritos.
Which makes, because it feels kind of trashy.
Coke in the car.
So good.
I love Diet Coke. I was drinking that at your baby shower. I did not have the
love
fancy
a Diet
soda.
Coke.
Oh, I love a Diet Coke. Any excuse. And I love what your sister did too. She had like the mini cans. Oh my God.
Perfect.
Mini can.
But we were talking about, because we were laughing about the paperless post, and she was like, this party, all of this stuff, it says it's like usable, but it's not. And she's like, the carbon footprint of this is huge.
Well, you have to do what you have to do when you're having a party, I will say. But the paper plates were paper. Those are going to biodegrade.
Yes. Can I tell you, I have a friend group that looks down upon entertaining with paper plates, and I'm like,
those were beautiful paper plates. I thought those were perfect.
I know, sometimes I'm like, it's unfair. What do you expect us to have, like china?
Right, especially when you're renting an event space like that. Like,
I'm
what
not
are you
a
going to do?
real housewife.
Right.
Like,
Oh, excuse me, my bone china. Can everyone wash their plates in the sink?
But if you can find fancy paper plates, I think that's a happy medium.
Oh, it's perfect. And then you know what your sister did also, which I thought was really great? There was no decor, except the food was the decor, right?
Yeah, the tier. I love food on tiers.
Yeah, the tiered
Layered
trays, and those are reusable. And she did we did 2 bouquets of flowers, which it was eucalyptus, kind of a like a
Hydrangea?
daisy and a hydrangea and they were gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's like that's all you need. I was also like, oh my gosh, should I go to the store, get a thing like a sign? I'm like, oh, it's too much, and I'm so glad I didn't because there was no decor needed at all.
No, we had a brick wall.
I think that's a great I mean, not that we're billing this party as eco-friendly any longer, but it is, I think, a good eco-friendly tip to be like, let me just get some in-season flowers that are local and let me just have the food be the decor.
Yeah, and the beauty of New York is that there's a place to get flowers just 1 block away at all times.
Yes.
And that if you need something, you can pop out and get it really fast. Where like I feel like in other cities, you're like,
driving to the Publix.
30 minutes to Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One girl was telling me, I'm talking to a girl who's planning her wedding, and she said she's going to do for the wedding wooden flowers. That's a thing now, which I think is that's a great idea because, you know, plastic flowers, who likes that?
No, and I have to say the weddings, you can tell the ones that have money, the way that it gets bumped up to another level, I think, is if you're the person that can afford plants.
Yeah, the big gigantic floral arrangement. You're like,
it's a game changer.
It truly is.
When you walk into a wedding that can afford that, you're like, there is a difference.
There is a top tier at the bar.
Yeah.
We're not just getting Tito's tonight.
Oh, they're not fucking around here. Yeah. We're like, you know, at ours, we were like on a budget. We did fake succulents.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Well, you know, it's just like too complicated to get the plant stuff.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Look into the wooden flowers, everybody.
That's like sounds like a great idea. But I thought you guys did an amazing job and it went off really well. And then at the end of the day, I was like, why was I so worried? Everything was fine.
Oh, I'm so glad that you had a great time. And I only did a small part in the arranging of the party. So I'm glad that your sisters pulled the weight.
Yeah.
Because I would not have had the budget for those game envelopes. I'll tell you that much. I'm like, she has different colors of paper in here.
She
was
loves
no way.
spending money.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It was a hit. Check out our Patreon. I'll drop one of the photos in so you can see the lighting.
Yes, we can put.
I have to send them to you actually because I did take a couple of photos. And please like and subscribe, everybody. Please give us a like.
Join
here
our
on
Patreon.
YouTube. Join our Patreon. We've got $5 tier. We've got $10. Please give us a review on iTunes. We're gearing up for the birth.
Yes.
So we are trying to get all of our ducks in a row and take the podcast to the next level before season 3, which is coming soon.
In the new year. All right.
Lady Journey.